I think Twitter is awful, and I think it's causing us tremendous problems. The video I made on my main channel today about the Covington lawsuit, I talked a bit about the Trump bump. I believe that there's a contingent of people who only follow each other. They're playing a game of telephone, and it repeatedly gets worse and worse and worse, and these people are in media, and, they're inside and outside of media. But the story we have right now, Jack Dorsey slammed for praising fitness writer who claimed vaccines do indeed. He claimed that vaccines caused autism after he appeared on his podcast. So here's the thing. It's how do you describe it? It's the dog biting the hand that feeds them. It's something built by Jack Dorsey himself being smeared. It's now being used against him. And I have to say, because I pointed this out on the Joe Rogan podcast when I was talking to Jack, I'm sure he gets substantially more hate than I do. He's got way more followers. He's way more prominent. But imagine building something and then other people use it to go after you. Worst of all is that Jack didn't do anything. He literally talked to a guy, and because Jack dared talk to a guy who at some point tweeted one thing, now they're coming after Jack. This is how insane society has gotten. And I honestly, I don't know what makes it get better. I don't know if it's going to get better. I think it's going to get worse. Well, let's just read the story. Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey has been slammed for praising a fitness writer who claimed that vaccines cause autism after appearing on his podcast. The social media titan, 42, tweeted his thanks to Ben Greenfield last night, saying he appreciates all you do to simplify the mountain of research focused on increasing one's health span. Greenfield, from Spokane, Washington, tweeted that he had recorded an epic podcast with Dorsey, and the pair had discussed topics including DIY cold tubs and extreme time-saving workouts. In the wake of the backlash, Greenfield added, Jack and I did not discuss vaccines, nor is it a topic I regularly discuss. Last month, anti-vaxxer Greenfield caused controversy by falsely claiming vaccines do indeed cause autism, before saying fact-checking organization Snopes should not be trusted. Well, I am not an expert on vaccines, but I did meet with the CDC once, and they told me it was fine, and I don't know what else to tell you. I have received many different vaccines and inoculations when I traveled to Egypt and other countries. I had to get a bunch of shots. I'm assuming those are the same things. I've had no problems. But again, I'm not an expert. I can only lean towards what the experts say, and basically all of them are saying that vaccines are fine. Now, it is true that there's something called Guillain-Barré syndrome, I believe. I've read about these things. I am no expert on any of this stuff. So I'm going to err on the side of the mainstream on this issue. However, what I will do is point out that he is correct. Snopes is trash. Did you know, this is funny, right now, Snopes has an article where it says Ilhan Omar married her brother to allow him to immigrate to the U.S. Unproven. The reason I bring this up is because it shows you that Snopes can't do anything. How many people on the left think it's fake news that she married her brother? How many people on the right think it's true? So Snopes can't do anything. What's the point of going to a site if they can't tell you definitively what is or isn't? You'd think if they found no evidence on the matter, they'd call it false, but they can't. Snopes is worthless. Don't get me wrong, Snopes is trash beyond this. They produce a bunch of awful crap. It's like all Snopes does is Google search things. So Jack tweeted, "Thanks, Ben. Great conversation and appreciate all you do to simplify the mountain of research." Yeah, we read that already. His tweet racked up more than 7,000 replies, with many users calling him out for spreading false information. What did Jack do? Matilda star Mara Wilson also criticized Greenfield at the time, saying, they effing don't. Andrew Wakefield was discredited. Autism rates have risen in countries where they took out the supposed offending chemical. Vaccines save lives. That is not a controversial statement. Why does it need to be pointed out? But are they talking about Greenfield's tweet? Many Twitter users questioned why Dorsey had given a platform to someone who spreads misinformation. Wait. What do you mean Jack Dorsey did? Jack Dorsey went on his platform. You see how crazy everyone is? Alex Howard wrote, "Why are you giving a platform on your platform to someone who undermines Snopes and spreads misinformation about vaccines, one of the greatest public health successes in human history?" Yeah, absolutely. Vaccine rates have dramatically reduced disease. But the point is, Snopes is trash. It is. God, I sit here and do fact checking all day, and Snopes is pretty awful. Kirk Dedenbach added, "Awesome way to use your mega platform to promote an anti-vaxxer in the midst of a measles outbreak. Well done, genius." Susan Reiner tweeted, "Please, this is serious. Affects the health of so many. Make Twitter a place where real science plays a role in what we read." Are you kidding me? Twitter literally has a rule against misgendering. That is... The left loves pushing anti-science. You know, the ACLU came out recently saying that trans women should be able to compete against females. Not even transgender scientists agree with that policy. My God. I made a video about this. There's more than one left-wing social justice and even transgender scientists who are saying that there are benefits, advantages that trans men have, or I'm sorry, that trans women have over biological females unless they complete HRT. And even after that, it's hormone replacement therapy. Even after that, they still may have some biological advantages. Why is Twitter a place for anti-science? Yet these are the people claiming that it needs to be pro-science. Listen, the left and the right have their anti-science people. And everyone tries to claim they're the party of science. It's just people are so insane. Susan Reiner tweeted, please, this is serious. Oh, I read that already. So here's Snopes gets an F for fact-checking, and it uses Mercola. Oh, my God. I don't go to Mercola. They say anti-vaxxer Greenfield was widely criticized last month for falsely claiming. We know that. Many Twitter users questioned why Dorsey had given a platform to someone who spreads misinformation. And here we go. At the beginning of the Joe Rogan podcast, Joe Rogan brought up the issue of the carnivore diet. He showed a tweet where it was like a lion eating a carcass or some kind of animal. And following that, questioning whether or not he should be banned for that, I asked about misinformation. If the carnivore diet can cause harm, you know, if it's bad for you, will you ban people for posting misinformation? And I don't think we really got anywhere, but I wanted to prep that stance because we've seen a big push from the left to ban what they call fake news. Well, the problem with the rules Jack proposed, the problem with banning fake news, the problem with these calls, look at this. You know, Twitter should be a place where real science plays a role. The problem with all of these is that everyone thinks they're right. Imagine if Twitter said from now on only proven published science will be allowed. Could you imagine, like, think about when it was first discovered that we are in a heliocentric solar system and not a geocentric universe. That was considered like blasphemy. And I could even be wrong about that. I'm not a historian. That's just typically what people say. So imagine what would happen then if your platform says, the example I use typically is asbestos. During the time when asbestos was used far and wide, they kept saying everything was fine. And then we realized it wasn't. Imagine if someone came out and said asbestos causes mesothelioma. People would be like, oh, God, get out of here. It does not. That's ridiculous. There's no evidence because the benefits of asbestos are huge and nobody wants to pay the money to deal with the actual issue. You look at the issue of the air on 9/11. My understanding is that people were told the air was safe to breathe. What do we have now? People are sick and dying. So sometimes the prevalent orthodoxy is incorrect. I think vaccines are fantastic. I have taken many. I don't know enough about it, but I just want to point out it's dangerous to start policing misinformation because it's typically an outlier who challenges the system and then we realize we were wrong. If everyone is dead set on being right and you ban anything, any dissent, look at what YouTube is doing now with conspiracy theories. This is only going to lead to problems when people try calling out something that is not believed by the mainstream. The mainstream is not always correct. I'm not trying to defend anti-vaxxers. I'm trying to point out we shouldn't be policing information in this way. Disgraced doctor Andrew Wakefield's so-called research popularized the idea that the MMR jab could cause autism in the late 1990s, but the paper has since been widely debunked. The pseudoscientific movement has seen a resurgence in recent years with a report from the CDC last year finding that the number of unvaccinated children up to 35 months old increased fourfold between 2001 and 2015. I want to point out here too, I am no expert on any of this, and this is the Daily Mail, and neither are they. It's widely accepted that vaccines are safe, and that's all I can really say. Pointing out, I am no expert. The issue I really wanted to bring up is not even vaccines. I have no idea why we're talking about vaccines. I wanted to point out the utter absurdity that Jack is being dragged for doing literally nothing wrong. And I'm not saying Jack making Twitter was bad. The point I'm trying to bring up is Twitter is a horrifying hellscape. And I've seen some people say, if Twitter is bad, it's your fault. No, that's not true, okay? There are some good things on Twitter, and there are many, many bad things on Twitter. I did an event the other night with Quillette where I said, imagine this. Right now, Twitter bans certain speech. It's making the platform mundane and boring because people who say funny things are being banned. But imagine what Twitter would be like without rules. It would literally just be people shrieking at the top of their lungs at each other. But I got to say this too. I kind of think we would just be better off with Twitter being overtly free speech. Because you look at someone like Sarah Jong, who for years posted this, racist nonsense. Keep doing it. If she kept doing it, she wouldn't have gotten a job at the New York Times. So good. But then again, it's also the idea of cancel culture and outrage culture. Should people be fired or banned because they say dumb things? And it's like, man, we're in trouble. I don't know if humans were meant to communicate at this speed, like with information flying so quickly. But ultimately, the point I want to bring up, here's the story. This guy, Ben Greenfield, tweeted one thing about vaccines, apparently. Everybody gets mad. Jack Dorsey goes on his podcast and then says thanks. And everyone blames Jack Dorsey for giving a platform to Ben Greenfield because a month earlier, Ben Greenfield tweeted something that people didn't want to hear. This is it. Everybody, strap on your gray jumpsuit, shave your head, no pockets, and we're going to have a platform where everyone can say, I don't know at each other, because anything definitive could be offensive, and we'll leave it at that. Stick around. I got a couple more videos coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you then.